All right, welcome. I am so excited. This is the very first Roundtable podcast that I'm having with these beautiful guests, lovely designers who have been in the business a long time, and I truly respect both of them a lot and just even and enjoy your company. So thank you both, Karin and Joanne, for coming in today.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yes, thank you. I am going to read your bios so the listeners can get a flavor of who you are and what you do, and then we're going to dive into the topic here of working with friends and family, and I think that could be quite interesting because it's something that comes up a lot in my Facebook group, Interior Design Business Strategies, and let's do this. Let's see what you guys have to say about it. Yeah,
sounds good.
Awesome. So Joanne, I'm going to start with you. Joanne Jakab is a well-known award-winning local designer specializing in residential interiors. She helps busy professionals and their families to design and renovate their home so they can live the life that they truly desire. Clients who had initially felt overwhelmed truly appreciated her proven track record for sorting through the myriad of options and creating a cohesive design plan, identifying the key elements that will help take them from standard design to extraordinary concept on time and on budget since 1999.
That's it.
Joanne resides with her family in Burlington, Ontario, and has just announced her retirement.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very
Thank you.
Cool. And we also have Karin Bennett. So Karin Bennett Designs is a full-service design firm specializing in large-scale remodels and new builds. She believes in designing a home that is both functional and stylish. Karin has been married for 18 years and is a busy mom of 3 teenagers and 2 sweet dogs. Karin grew up with parents that are modern-day house flippers. Her mom was a designer and a realtor who loved to fix up homes and move on to the next challenge. So renovating and designing homes is in Karin's blood. Welcome, Karin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. I did know that about you, actually, with your mom used to be a house flipper. I know we talked about that before. And yeah, so it's in your blood. There you go.
It is. I grew up with parents who took me to open houses on Sundays and promised we weren't looking at houses to move. And then a week later, there would be a sign on our front door, and that was it. I think it happened 12 times while I lived with them.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you start getting involved in that process kind of as they were doing it?
I didn't. I wasn't interested, but as an adult, I would start doing the same thing and get excited, and you know, it kind of started from there.
Good. Well, your designs are beautiful.
Thank you.
And Joanne, so you are recently retired?
Just retired. My husband and I are spending a lot more time traveling. Our daughter is away at medical school, and so she's just not around a lot. And you know, we were chatting a little bit earlier, and I was saying, you know, every 10 years, it seems the industry, like most industries, starts to shift again, and you really have to dig down deep and reevaluate and reset your direction and your brand.
Right. Yeah.
And I was looking at that, and I thought, you know, this was a really good opportunity to step away. And I've had a great career. I really enjoyed it. And that's one of the reasons I thought I would accept your invitation.
Yes,
and,
thank you.
Happy to share.
Yes.
And so, so I'm here.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you do actually share a lot in the group, and I appreciate whenever you comment on something, I'm like, oh, what does Joanne have to say? Because I know it's always good stuff. So
thank you.
So congratulations on your retirement, and thank you for
you
being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so ladies, I kind of chose this topic to talk about because it is something, like I said, that comes up a lot, you know, and it can be awkward to try to figure out how do you deal with friends, family who, you know, maybe expect design for free or want to pick your brain, you know, and obviously this is a business and we want to make profit and it's got to be, you know, for a business. So just want to talk to you guys about how you have handled a situation where a friend or family member has asked you for design or maybe just assumed you were going to do design. And how did that go? Like, do you have?
For me, this hasn't happened too much with family. Okay. So I have a pretty close-knit family, and I feel like if they want advice, I'm happy to help them out.
Yeah.
And I guess if I had a real taker in the family, then it would be a different situation.
Right, yes.
So I haven't had too many circumstances with family. I'll just help them out. I don't charge them anything.
Right.
But it's not, I mean, I'm talking a couple hours here, a couple hours there. Not a big deal at all.
So you're not like redesigning a whole main floor, custom
absolutely
shopping
not.
furniture.
No.
Okay.
No. Even my sister, we just did a full renovation of her house. I just she kind of contracts me out for free. But, you know, I just help her. You know, she's like, I'm looking at these. What do you think? Or can you help me pick a drapery fabric? So she knows that it takes time. So she would never overstep. So that's fine.
Nice.
That's great.
Nice. Yes.
I have worked with a fair amount of friends in the past, and I have had problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think where I would say I stand is I won't give discounts on my services.
Right. So you will charge your full fee
That's
for whatever
right.
your service is.
If we are close enough, I will help you for free. So
Okay.
that might be truly 5 or 6 people in my life.
Okay.
Other than that, full service.
Okay.
That's just what it is.
Okay.
All the times I've given a discount, it never ends well.
Right. Do you want to tell us a little bit about, or even when friends have come to you and just like an actual experience that happened?
Yeah, like I would say when it's friends, I won't say send my contract, right? Because it's so formal, right? I'll say, you know what, I'll help you. I'll charge you this much an hour. It should take this much time and we'll do that. Are you okay with that? Yes, sure. So with one friend, I remember I helped her.
Sorry, hon, so you no signing a contract at
No
that?
signing the
Okay,
contract. So this is
okay.
the past.
Okay.
So
The past.
yes.
We'll reiterate that. Yeah. What did
from,
you
from now
what did
on,
you
yes, I
learn
will
from
help
that?
a friend. I don't encourage my friends. I don't encourage them, but
Right.
I will help a friend, but it won't be, we're just going to do the exact same thing I would do with anybody moving forward.
Right.
But in the past, I have helped people discounted rate, no contract signed. And then I remember one circumstance, they just said, you know what, I think I'm good. Like I was just billing them monthly and then, you know,
for services. Yes.
And then the first bill, whatever it was, a few hours, no problem. Second month, we're really getting into things.
Yes.
And before I even have a chance to send a bill, she said, you know what, I feel like I'm good. And I've presented to her and shown her everything. I think I'm good moving forward.
Like I can move forward on my own now because you gave me everything that I need.
Yeah, and I'm not going to pay your invoice. It's without saying it. So just such hard things.
Yes.
And it's a friend.
And did that affect your relationship with your friend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's because it's hard, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, I think initially too, I mean, just the fact that people kind of expect it. You kind of mentioned something a little earlier. I can't remember the exact words, but for me, it's also the approach, how someone approaches you. You know, like if someone approaches with the expectation that like, oh, yeah, you can help me. You do this every day rather than I really don't want to bother you.
I think there's, whether it's a friend or someone you meet at a cocktail party, I think there's people are divided into groups.
Right.
That's how I do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Whether I know them or not. There's just a certain type of person who thinks very highly of themselves.
Right.
And they are typically that person who will ask and push and push and ask. And you have to be prepared for that. And knowing how to manage that style of that personality style, whether they're your like quote unquote friends or the times I've run into that has been more with like a referral or had a great client.
Right.
And I learned the lesson I learned about referrals, the question to ask, get your pens out.
Right. She's got a lot of experience, folks.
Especially you've got somebody with a really great relationship with their client. You have to ask them straight up, oh, are they as nice as you?
Right. Okay. So you ask your client this, who's
Right
giving you a
out.
referral.
And whenever you ask a question, you're quiet until they say something.
Oh, okay.
And
That's good.
I cannot tell you, since that happened, since I started asking that question, the amount of times I'll go, well, they're a good friend, but no, I wouldn't want to work for them.
Okay. Yeah. Good call.
Like,
Yeah.
right? And that had paradigm shift.
Right.
Because I had some great referrals and I'd had the worst experience in my life with referrals ever.
Yes.
And
it can go
so,
either way.
yeah. And I was in the business for 10 years before I figured out that
Good.
question.
Yes. That's a very good question. I
Yeah.
like that.
And part
Are
of
they
it
as
was,
nice
I
as you
think,
are?
being, feeling like I should have been asking that, knowing I should have been asking
Right.
that. But there's just something about being too polite sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of women were too polite.
Right. Yes.
And I don't think there was anything wrong at all for asking that question in the right way.
Yeah. No, I think the way you were a little playful with it when you kind of said it just now, right?
And it's a compliment.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah. It's a great way to look at it.
And and it was true. These are wonderful clients.
Yes.
I feel that way about all my clients.
Yeah.
So,
I love that actually, because I have had times where I've worked with a really, really good client and then they're like, oh, I have someone who wants to work with you. And I just kind of assume, well, because you were a great client, I'm sure they're going to be a great client.
Mhm.
And that was not the case, right? So I like that question.
isn't that a great?
Joanne.
Yeah. I mean, anyhow.
And it is a
but
compliment.
Yeah.
It is a compliment,
That's
and
right.
it's honest, and it's not always the best way. And friends and family, I always again like to start figuring out who they really are by asking them questions. So they might come up to you at a party or a dinner or something, and so I always, whatever they say to me, I always, oh, that's a really great comment, or that's a really great question. So what did you mean by that, I would say, or could you tell me a little more about that? And, the language they used, I think we would all agree, you get a sense of, are they looking for help from a professional?
Right.
Because they're just not sure how to ask the right question.
So this is, sorry, just so I can read it. So this is when someone's coming up to you at an event or a party and asking a question about design.
Not a really close family. Close family, again, I have sisters, chartered accountant and a computer expert, and we trade back and forth. And
Right.
so we're very, very close.
Yes.
In family, like you, it's a very close family. But outside of that, for friends and that, it's acquaintances, people you meet socially. Sometimes they're just looking to have a conversation at a party. I mean, it's
Right,
like
yes.
everybody wants to talk about decorating.
Yes,
Lots
yep.
of people want to talk about it, and that's great. And so, I try to turn it back to them.
Right.
And then you find out, do they have a real project?
Right.
Or are they just talking? And talking's fine.
Yeah,
But do they have a real project? Have they ever worked with a professional? Are they working with somebody right now?
Right. Yes.
And sometimes they're just fishing to see,
How much you know, or
well, have they made the right choices? Is their designer leading them the right way?
Yes.
I don't love that.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And so, sometimes that happens. And so I think as other professionals, we need to, like I said, discover in that social situation, what is it, their real motivation.
Right.
And so if you go just being open, if you go to any event being an open-minded person and somebody mentions something and you just ask real questions like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like just open to, well, what makes you say that, or what's your experience with that? And then, the more experience you have in this business, the more you can quickly figure out,
Yes.
are they a potential
Yes.
client?
Yes.
Or is it somebody you just want to smile and move on as
That's right.
quickly as possible?
Yeah.
And those questions will come up in the moment, but mostly just, I think, starting with, oh, tell me more, or what do you, and if you turn it back to them telling you,
Right.
then you can, when they're doing the talking, you can then figure out how you want to proceed.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Because, and I don't mean
yes.
this to be rude, but I don't care what anybody says to me
Right.
about design.
Yes. What do you mean? Like if they have an opinion, you mean? Like whatever.
Or, because what I have found over 20 years is it doesn't matter what they say the first initial meeting.
Right.
I mean, I make notes, but for the most part,
Is
that's
it
not
now-
what's
are you-
going to happen
Are
anyways.
you saying that because they don't really know? They don't
have
really
a
know.
clue.
That's right. Yes.
And they don't know how to ask the questions,
Right.
and they don't know how to express themselves,
Yes.
because if they did, they wouldn't need
As
us.
much.
Well,
they
they
might
wouldn't
still
need
they might
us.
still need us a little bit, but
No, not enough that once you have a lot of experience, you want to work with somebody for an
Right.
hour or
Right.
two. Anyways, so
I
I don't
agree
want to
with
take
that.
over. But,
When you're in a consultation, when they tell me things that they like, visual things that they like, I don't put too much stock in that, because until
That's
they
very
show
good
me
language,
visuals of what they like, I believe the photo they show me more than their words.
That's yes.
Because a lot of people will say, I don't like a white wall. I love white walls. But people
yeah.
don't think they like white walls because they think it's stark.
Yeah.
They think it's stark. But then I say, let's look through the last 3 magazines that you have on your coffee table that you love. And they're all, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So all the visuals they send me all have white walls. So
yes.
I don't put too much stock in their words explaining what they like, because I don't think they
can't articulate it because they don't really know.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. That's
and
right.
that's part of the process, right? Taking them through that process.
Absolutely.
So
and photos are a great way to do that, right?
Yeah.
And we don't.
Yeah.
We don't need to see too many photos. Sorry, I was going to say.
No, it's good.
Because someone will say, to me about, I'm not sure what my design style is. I'm not sure what I like. And I say, well, actually, you added these photos to your Pinterest board, and I can tell just by looking at 4 or 5. I know exactly what your style is. So, so it's a good point for sure to ask those questions when you have someone, because I didn't have someone come up to me at a party that I can recall offhand, but I did have a lady, someone who I used to know like years ago, right? And then we reconnected on Facebook, local, but never got together. And then obviously I'm sharing, different projects on Facebook, what I've been doing. And then I get a message, and it's a direct message through Facebook saying, I would, we should get together. It's been so long. I'd love to catch up. And I love the designs that you're showing. And we would love to redo our living room. And we're not sure what to do with our we love built-ins, but we're not sure how to design them. And I was just like, do you really want to catch up with me, or you just want to, She's like, I'll have wine. And so, I don't like
Karin's
it. Shaking her head.
I don't like it
her
because
head.
to me, there's double meaning in that, and you're not being truthful. I don't like it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No. And so I replied to her, and I just said like, oh, so great to hear from you. I'm glad to hear everything's going well. If you're interested, this sounds like it would be a great opportunity for a 2-hour consultation where I will give you as much information as I can. I'll send you a link to my website. And thanks so much for reaching out. I would love to work with you.
Yes.
And the reply I got, maybe a delayed day later or so was, oh, thanks. I can't really afford a decorator, but thanks anyway.
Yes.
And I was like, oh,
no,
like, oh, you still want to come for one?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay.
Exactly. And I mean, we're in a business, and I think that's the most important thing. Because if you're not getting paid, you're paying somebody else's mortgage.
Yeah.
And when you're making breakfast for your kid or kissing your husband, and you're going to look them straight in the eye and say, oh yeah, mommy or your wife just spent 3 hours paying somebody else's mortgage.
Right. Yeah.
Like, start thinking about it.
That's right. It's a business. And what we do, I know people kind of perceive it as this is fun. Like, and you hear that a lot. Like,
all the time.
You're a designer. Oh, it must be so much fun.
Yes.
I'm like, we just pick paint colors and fabrics. It's great. Right. We don't have to deal with managing projects or trades or things being delayed.
Yeah. And isn't that what you say to yourself though when you're lugging stuff around? This is so glamorous.
I did that last night. I was at a consultation. I felt like the bag lady. I was I'm like, okay, everyone thinks this is such a glamorous job, but
it's 1% glamour.
Yes. Yeah. And that's really the final photo.
Yeah.
Really, the rest of it is so much hard work that goes into it.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
Anyways.
Great feedback. So, okay. So Karin, you had said that it did actually affect a relationship that you had.
It did. And I'll tell you, so that was that circumstance, but even time again where I've had friends refer people. So it's a friend of a friend, someone who's my age, who views me as their peer. Again, it doesn't work out well,
because
like, it's not when I say it doesn't end well. It's not like there's bad blood.
Right.
It's just that I feel like they don't respect my time and my business.
Like, it's not really a business as much as it is.
Yeah. I think they just view me as a peer. And I think in any working relationship, when someone's hiring your services, you have to have the power. And once you lose your power, it's game over.
Right. And because it's a respect, right? It's having a respect.
Like,
For sure.
I think when you're new at this, it's even more important to ask questions when people say something to you.
Right.
And so
what kind of questions do you think?
So as I was saying, like, you need to have a plan. Like, what is your business model?
Right.
So you know your business model. And so you say you're new and you're willing to go do a 3-hour
consultation
or a mini
colors
pick paints in
Okay.
somebody's room.
Okay, yeah.
So if that's your business model and you're willing to do that and you're going to charge $100 a room or whatever your rate is when you're first starting.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mean $100 room to pick a paint color?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to be clear.
Oh yeah. It's like
$100 for 3 hours.
no. And this is say when you first start.
Mhm.
So you first start, you're willing to take time to go pick a paint color because we all know often picking a paint color, there's a lot more behind it.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
if you want to use that to get in the door, then when someone comes to a party and talks about paint color, then you should be able to express yourself. Oh yes, I know there's 600 white colors, and mix a couple of jokes.
Yeah.
So have a few of those ideas pre-planted in your head about what and how you're going to talk about
Okay.
paint.
Yeah.
If that's your focus,
Yep.
and that you're comfortable with.
Yes.
So I
And
believe in
things-
doing a lot of research and reading
Yeah.
on what's going on in the industry. It's so much easier and less expensive nowadays. We used to
Right.
I used to spend thousands of dollars a year on magazines.
Right.
Mhm.
Thousands
Right.
and thousands.
Like home decor magazines just to get your
and
juices
books
flowing
and,
yeah.
and courses. And I mean,
Yeah,
you have to be
interesting.
anyways.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
say so you're young and you're new in the industry, or you're not young, it's your second career. So that when people are approaching you, you come across as a professional,
Mhm.
not
Yes.
just a dolly decorator.
Not flippant about it.
Right.
and-
So if
yes.
you're shifting from one career to another career, or if you're recently graduated, you really have to have that brand, who you are
Mhm.
and what you stand for, and
sure.
what your offerings are fixed and available to you.
Yeah.
So that when you are in these situations, like the mummy groups or whatever you're
Yes.
doing, somebody says something that you sound a little more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And you have a few questions to ask them. Well, what have you done in the past?
Right.
Do you use a professional painter? Some real basic questions, right? And so that you have an understanding and that they get that you're going to charge them
Right.
and that you are comfortable.
Yes.
Practice in the mirror.
Yes. Yep. So that's good. I like
Right?
that.
Practice in the mirror.
Yes.
I charge $99 per room and with $600 for a 1,200 square foot home to pick colors or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Something. I have no idea. It doesn't matter what the
Yeah.
money
Yes.
is.
Yes.
It only
but have
matters
it,
that you
are comfortable.
can say it
Yes.
right away.
Yes. And I love that actually, because that's one of the things, when I'm talking to potential clients or we're just discussing, with somebody who's asking maybe questions who isn't a client yet, sort of thing. Like I'm quite happy to say, like, well, have you picked your fixed elements yet? Like, where are you in the renovation project? Like and exactly, and now it just comes naturally because I've been doing it for so long, but in
Those
the
are not
beginning,
questions that another homeowner is going to ask
Absolutely.
them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
then obviously as your careers progress, as all of ours have, then, your type of business model, who you want as your ideal client, all of that
Exactly.
shifts.
Yes.
And so as long as you understand who that person is,
yes.
and then you ask those questions that relate to that.
Mhm.
I want professional women who are married, are
Mhm.
too busy,
Yes. Love the
who
busy one.
value the ability that I can do this for them and their
Mhm.
family.
Mhm.
And so I already know that's who I want to
Yes.
speak with.
Yes. love
And
that.
if it's not that person, then I'm 99% going to not take them on as a client.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm really comfortable with saying
Yeah.
no.
Yes. Yes.
And I've
that's-
also fired a number of clients over the years.
That's good.
Oh, so we could have yeah, me too.
But-
we could have
Yeah.
another conversation. So
Anyhow, I think don't you think so, Karin?
Yeah, I agree. I think the longer you're in the business, the longer the more you have the right to choose whatever clients you want to work with. And I think people let you know early on how they're going to be. It's just if we pay
Mhm.
attention to that.
Yes. Yeah. And when you're new,
That's
and
a
you
really
want to
good point.
you want to take on anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, I just want something for my portfolio.
That's
I
right.
just need the experience.
Yeah.
And I think
Right?
that's where a lot of people make a mistake.
Of course,
Yeah.
but I also think people need to make those certain mistakes.
Oh,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like that's how we learn, and that's how we're like, oh my
For
gosh. I
sure.
mean, we can all go back. I can tell by you guys nodding your heads
Yes.
already. That we have those clients where we're like, oh my gosh, I wish I never took them on. But
Yes.
I never really regret because I always learn something
Yes.
from
I
it.
always say too, I
Right?
have a designer who works with me. I always say, when you make a mistake, let it hurt
Yeah.
and let's move on. But
Yeah.
let it hurt, let it bug you, because that's how you're going to learn. If it doesn't like really bug you for a couple
little
of
bit.
days,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're not going to change what you did, right? So
Right.
it's like we always make mistakes. Things happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
Absolutely.
costs us money. time,
Yep.
whatever it is,
Yep.
let it hurt. Move on.
Move on.
Yeah, and move
Yeah,
on
that's
and
good. I like that.
sit back too and take that opportunity to figure out what you could have done differently, because you can only change
Reflect.
you,
Yeah, have a little bit of a
right?
reflection. Yeah.
And then what action steps can you put in place to prevent that in the future?
Mhm.
You know, and maybe you have the system in place, but you didn't send the contract out, or you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of the world, whatever it is, but it is a really great opportunity to like reinforce
For sure.
Mhm.
so that it doesn't happen again.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Different mistake,
and that's-
maybe, but
yeah.
not the same one over and over again.
100%.
Absolutely.
And I love like what you said, like about like, you know, the contract and stuff, because it's very easy to just be like, oh, I'm working with my friend, or, you know, it's okay. We don't need to
Absolutely.
sign things.
Or a repeat client, they become like friends, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a
Yes,
whole
that's a
gray
great- yeah,
area.
that's another good one.
Right?
Yes.
Where it's
Yeah.
like the third house or the
Yes.
whatever. And, you know, anytime you don't put that contract out, you will regret it. I don't.
Yes. Yeah.
it's-
Just do
Do
it.
you
Just
send the
yeah.
contract again? Like you'll send a new revised contract for a
absolutely.
new project with the same client?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd start all over again.
Yes.
Even, you know, what they call project scope or not
scope creep.
Yeah,
creep.
creep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Creep. That's
Yeah.
another thing, because
Mhm.
once you're
Yes.
friendly,
Yeah.
Yes.
then these creep moments
Yes.
come up where you're like, oh, you know, they just want to add this or add that. And again, with more experience
Yes.
comes more ability to take a stand
Yes.
and stand up for yourself
Yes.
and your business and charge for
Yeah.
it.
And say,
Mhm.
okay, that's fine. We just need to add that to the scope. That's a separate piece of the project. I'll price it out for you. You know, I mean, you're right, because they do become friends. We're actually working, we're going to be starting tomorrow on a project. It'll be the third time I've worked with these clients, and I love them. I love these. They're like, I love all my clients.
Yeah.
They've been great, obviously, but, and yeah, so we're signing the LOA. They're meeting us at the
Good.
design center next week.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going through the same
Yeah.
process. And I've just said, like, I know you've been with me before, you understand how it works, but, you know, it's been a couple of years,
Yes.
you know, because maybe something has changed a little, or they've forgotten, and you just want to make sure that it's
Yes.
all clear
Oh, yeah.
again.
And invoicing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times with repeat clients
Right.
where I'm invoicing them for product. And they're like, oh, Joanne, you know, and they ask those same questions.
Right.
And then I answer the exact same way,
Yeah.
which is, I'm not a retailer.
Yes.
I'm doing a custom order just for you.
Yeah.
So I need, you know, if I had financed 10 projects.
Yeah. No, that
I'm
doesn't.
not
Oh.
No.
right.
No.
So I
Not
need
thanks.
all the
Yes.
money today.
Yes.
And then I will place the order.
Mhm.
And that's my guarantee that we are both on the same page, that you want these products.
Right. For
Absolutely.
Sure.
Because
For sure.
people may say anything to be polite.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
in a lot of people do. They'll say, oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll take that.
Right.
But when it shows up with the bill, then they don't want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
if you get
Always
paid
100%.
100%
Yeah.
upfront, you will know if they really want
That's
it
right.
or not.
Absolutely.
And that's
right.
Yes.
fair.
Yes.
right?
Well,
That's
yeah, that's
Fair for them.
Always.
and fair for us. I mean, that's
And
what running the business,
nothing
right?
no orders get placed until it's paid for. I think that's fair.
Yes. And I
Yes.
think that, yeah, let's just reiterate that for anyone listening, that should be your process. If you're
Yes.
ordering something 100% down, like to get the 100%, do not, and we hear this a lot again, like in the group,
Mhm.
a lot of times people saying, I'm chasing client for invoicing. They said they wanted this. They paid me 50% and now it's due and I've paid the balance. And it's like, no, you need to make sure that you're
Yes.
making sure, just get it up front. And again, like, and I wouldn't question if and whoever, you know, is a professional and they want me to pay them up front,
Yeah.
I'm going to pay them up front because I want that. And I know that I want it. And
I don't
so,
want that business otherwise.
That's right.
Mhm.
And I'm happy to explain to them, I'm totally understand your point of view. And if you need to operate that way,
Yeah.
then there is many retailers that you can go shop
That's
at.
right. But that's not my
But
process.
that's not my process.
That's
That's
right.
not
Absolutely.
my business, right?
Yeah. And I do love that you said that. That's actually a very good reminder that, so we're talking about family and friends, but your clients do become
Become-
friends
Yes.
over time.
Yes.
And you can't afford really to slack a little bit because
Yeah.
it does come back to bite you
Yeah.
in the butt at some point.
Yes. And
And-
if you value that friendship, these clients who are truly your friends.
Right.
You're not just friendly with them.
Right.
They're truly your friends. Even more reason to cover yourself so there's no gray lines.
That's right. Yes.
Right? You don't want any blurred lines. You care about them. You don't want there any misunderstanding.
It's there for your protection just as much as it is as
exactly.
theirs.
It is, absolutely. It's the fair way to be.
Yeah.
So Joanne, do you give anybody a discounted rate?
No.
Okay.
Either they're my close, like my sisters or whatever, or it's a project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the same as myself. Though I think there are a lot of people.
It's a really good question.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who
I
do.
just don't understand the point of that.
Well, I think you have to look at it too, like in a way that, you know, if and I've had times where whether it's family members or friends that they offer a service and maybe I've purchased a service from them. I haven't asked them for a discount. I've paid full price for my sister's bookkeeping when she was a bookkeeper, and now we're in the middle of we're starting her renovations February 1st, and we've done the whole design for her main floor and her basement, but we're just doing the main floor at this time. All right, so little technical difficulty here, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm recording it. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's always important to hit that button. Yeah, sorry. So I was just saying, so yeah, we're working on, we did my sister's design of her main floor and we did her basement redesign, like the 3D designs that we do. And now we're starting to do the, obviously, selections of different fixtures. So for the 3D designs, the way that I worked it is I had another gal who was working with me at the time, and I charged full price. So it was like, this is full price. I have to pay her. And, you know, so that also, not that we need to justify it, but when you do have someone else who is working for you, it you know, if you need that kind of candy coated or whatever, not that, but I'm saying you shouldn't need it, but.
No, it's great. I mean, and I think often when you have somebody booking your appointments or are speaking on your behalf, when clients or prospects. So this is the other thing I find really interesting. You know, a client is somebody who is paying you, has paid you, will be paying you, is ongoing. A prospect is someone that you may or may not choose to make into a client.
Like I say those are potential clients. I had a call with a potential client.
And that's fine. I just don't even want to, personally, I don't like attaching the term client to anybody who's not. So that's why in the sales, my sales background, you would call those people prospects. So that's where the term came. I didn't make it up, but so a prospect, and you know, you might have to speak to 100 prospects, and 10 would turn into people that you would want to follow up with. And of those 10, one would become a client. So that's, and you should know your numbers too. But it is a business. And if you do understand how your marketing and branding and social media and all the things you're putting money into, where are your leads coming from? So leads become prospects become sales and clients. So, and that's the other thing. I mean, when you're dealing with clients who become friends, it's really good to understand where they started, like to try to remember back to how what they really appreciated about you.
When you were with them the first time, Joanne.
Exactly. And so I think sometimes if you bring that back to a repeat meeting, they appreciate it, but it also sets the stage a little bit again about the reason you know each other, how the relationship started, and so that you reset it as a professional relationship for that next project.
And so what are you referring, just so I understand, are you referring to like something that happened initially, like when you first worked with them, like you say,
I mean, one client originally, the husband called me and he wanted a Christmas gift for his wife. Could he prepay for a consultation?
Is this an old client?
Originally, right? So they were, so he called up and he asked those questions. So we set something up, and then, you know, we worked through the home as it started to work through, and then we had a break. And then I went back to work with them again on the second level. So when we got back together to work on the second level of the home, I said, "Oh, remember when you called me, and you wanted an initial consultation, and it was, you know, you didn't know what to expect, and we went through the process, the design discovery process.
Yes.
And, oh, yeah. Well, I think we should do that again because we've moved from family space on the main floor up to
Right.
the bedroom
Mhm.
areas. So I'd really like to get that design discovery out and start again.
Yeah.
And
like
so it helps them, it recalibrates their brain.
Right.
That we are on a project, time is money. We want to focus in on these
Mhm.
areas. These are where the budget is. This is and why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I
So
like that.
it's just like if you're off for the summer and you come back in September,
Yes.
they start you. So that would be a way to recalibrate. And you're still friends, like you're
Right.
friendly when you
Yes.
get there. There's
Mhm.
no need to reiterate that, but to recalibrate the business aspect
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
Now, Joanne, what if your fees have gone up?
Oh, I let them know, but I don't actually come out and say it because I might have done it on a project basis.
Okay.
So what
Like
I
a flat
do,
fee?
I do a combination.
Okay.
So
Like a hybrid.
well, I'm very, very specific.
Okay.
So I will have a consultation and we will go through what the project's going to entail. So I will then come back to them and say, my fees for designing the living room include going to vendors 3 times, selecting the furniture with 2 replacement items, or whatever the specifics are for the living room.
And when you
So-
say replacement items, you mean like you will revise that if they don't like something
Correct.
specifically, and they want to
Or
see
you will
something
give them
different.
3 options.
Exactly, whatever it is. So I'll say I'm going to give you 2 options usually,
Mhm.
with the opportunity to reselect
Right.
A or B something, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, but it's very clear and specific, and that's an amount. Doom. Extra hours, and I will list $350, and then if the next year and I come back in and it's $375 an hour, then it'll just say that. I
Okay.
won't point that out to them.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But
And-
it'll say it in the contract.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I read through the contract with them and go
Good.
through
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
And this is after, the budgets are established and so forth. So we have good, better, best when we're discovering what the budgets and stuff are. So anywho, that's where I would list my hourly rate.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't point it out
So you
to
don't
them.
highlight it to them.
No,
So, but
but it's in writing.
But on the phone, like because I've just had this last week, and I had a client who hired me in 2015, and obviously my rates from then, the consultation is not now 400, it's 600. So I have to tell them, obviously, right? So that's maybe
But
a
you
little
don't
bit
even
different.
have to. I don't know. I wouldn't even say
Well,
it's
she did
gone
ask.
up.
She did ask me. She did say, "I'm assuming your rates have changed a little bit." And I
Well,
said, "Actually,
see?
yeah, they have."
Yeah.
And she was great. She was great.
Yeah.
She was like, "I knew they would." And so
Yes.
again, lovely
That's a
clients.
fan.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I had to also say that my rates had gone up because we did 3D design. So before they
Yes.
were 2,000, now they're 3,000. So
Right. But if she'd agreed to the consultation, you would have shown up
yes,
and said, and here's what it costs for X, Y, and Z. And she would have said yes or no.
right. Yes.
But
okay,
no, that's a
yes.
really good
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
What do you do, Karin?
No, if my rates go up, my rates go up. But I always think it's interesting, right? I would always say to people, and I have to take my own advice, don't explain yourself too much, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
this is it. I was just at the
Yes.
hairdresser, this lovely girl who is independent, and she was, and English is her second language. And she was so like, she's like, okay, I have to explain my pricing, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And so I paid whatever. I went to the washroom, came on, I said, can I tell you something, Anna, as from one business owner to another? Don't explain next time. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
need
yeah.
to. If
Yeah.
someone values you, they're going to pay
That's
it.
right.
And as I'm saying it, I'm telling myself to take my own
Yes,
advice.
That's right. Yeah. It's
right?
hard sometimes.
It's
I
great.
remember.
Yeah.
But it's good, right? And you
Yes.
do see that. You
Yes.
see yourself in others.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like we all do.
Yes.
Yeah. For some
Yeah.
reason,
Yeah.
sometimes we feel like we have to, like, talk and keep talking. And I
Yes.
find that I often say, especially when I'm coaching, is like, and then you just say what your fee is, and then that's it.
Yes.
And then you wait.
Yeah.
And then leave. That could be 5-10 seconds.
Yeah.
It could be a little, but just wait. Give them a
Yes.
chance to speak now. So it's a very, very good
Absolutely. You
good
always
point,
have to wait. When you
Yeah.
ask a question, you always have to be polite enough to wait for the answer.
Yes.
We have a tendency to be in our heads
Mhm.
and not realizing that other people are in their heads too.
Mhm.
Yes.
And they are
Yes.
like
true.
sincerely trying to think of an answer for a question that they may not have been expecting
Mm-hmm.
or really understand. And so it's important.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think pretty soon we can wrap up, but I just want to ask you guys, this has been great. I love it. It's just kind of like we're just sitting here and having this great conversation and being really open, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate that, you guys. Um, is there anything, so let's just say, like, to listeners out there, what would be maybe your one key piece of advice that you would say that to, like, if a friend or family member approach, and I know friends and family, I would say, can be different for sure. But what would you say, one thing, to a piece of advice?
I just don't think you should discount your rates.
Nice.
Yeah. I think if they value you, then they'll pay that. And again, like Joanne and I said, that may not be my sister or my parents.
Right.
But it's pretty much everybody, or my best friend, but it's pretty much everybody else.
Nice.
I just, from experience, a handful of times, those discounted rate clients never turn out to be the clients that you want.
Yeah. And then you could become resentful, and
Absolutely.
it just gets to bad spiral.
Yeah.
Joanne?
I think being clear about who you are as a professional when you're out in social situations, so that you're open, but ask questions.
Yes.
That's so
Decent,
interesting. What do you mean by that? Those are the types of questions. So discovery questions, so that that person can chat, and then you can determine, is this just a social chat, or is it a potential client, and move on from there. And I think it puts you more at ease personally if I go out to a party with that in mind. Like, I know who I am, what my brand is, and if people ask me questions, I'm happy to chit chat.
Yes.
Without giving away free advice or misrepresenting that I am not.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I hope that was clear.
No, it is. And it's nice because you can have it just shows that you can have those conversations that are like, okay, what do you think of the white wall trend? Like, where are you standing on that? Or what do you think of accent walls? Are they out? Like, it's not necessarily them going, here's a picture here, and this is my design that I'm thinking and do da-da-da. So no, I think that
you can take
great.
that hat off and just be at the party talking about, whatever.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just having general
red walls, or as you were saying, but it's separate.
Yes.
You as a professional.
Yeah. Great. All right, ladies.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire.
This has been amazing.
Easy peasy. You make it easy peasy.
Yeah. I just, I'm going to now, Joanne. I know you may not. Joanne has just finally got her website off of the internet, so she probably does not really want links added anywhere. But if there are, I don't know if you're on Instagram. If
I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
And
what's your handle on Instagram?
Joanne Jakab.
Okay.
Jakab.
That's right.
It's a Hungarian spelling.
Okay. All right. I meant to ask you about that because a lot of people would think that the Jakab with a C.
My husband's Hungarian, his background, and it would be pronounced Jakab.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Or Jakab, or there's a lot of other pronunciations. So, but when in North America, it's Jakab.
Yeah. Jakab. All right.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. And Karin, you're all over Instagram, and Karin is great at doing stories.
I do love
you're
Instagram.
Fresh and fun to watch, and
thank you.
So what's your handle? Share that with us, and I will have them in the show notes as well.
Yeah, it's Karin Bennett Designs. So
and it's Karin with an I.
Karin with an I. Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. Designs with an S.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, thank you, and I will have links to other website and some photos. And thank you so much, ladies. This has been fabulous.
Wonderful.
The first episode of TNT. It's a wrap. Woo!